I'm Chris, by the way.
Oh, I'm Sophie, but my friends call me Sophie.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll have to call you Sophie until I get to know you better, and then I can start calling you Sophie.
Get to know me better? It's a little presumptuous.
Yeah.
I've done it, you guys. I've finally found the most cringe trans movie currently in existence. This clip is from a movie about a psychic trans woman who murders quote-unquote patriarchal zombies. If you've ever wanted a really cringy and bad movie to make fun of during movie night with your friends, this is it. This movie is on par with films like The Room or Twilight, where it's so bad it's unintentionally good. It's perfect for a lighthearted terf movie night. Take a shot every time the movie uses the word bigot unironically. The movie is called T-Blockers. You can tell it's relatively indie due to its clearly very low production quality, but it's famous enough to have its own Wikipedia page and is available on AMC+, a very large film distributor. Before I get into the cringe, a quick introduction. My name is Mariana and I'm a terf. On my channel, I dissect film, television, and video games from a radical feminist perspective. So if this interests you, please consider subscribing. The main character is a psychic trans woman. He works at a movie theater and, as a side job, is directing a scary movie about zombies that turns out to be a real prediction of what happens in the future. Zombie worms infect patriarchal men, and he can sense when the worms are nearby.
I'm not strong enough either.
No, you're the strongest person I know. And anyway, fuck these Nazi and fuck everything else, okay? Yeah, sure, we can't fight it all in one night, but we can fight this one thing. That's good enough for me. Anyway, you have the ability to fuel the worms.
The main plot of the movie begins when the trans woman and his friends are at a gay bar, where they insult the coolest woman known to humankind.
Sophie, I have this brand new idea for an act. I think you're going to absolutely love it.
It's inspired by Harry Potter.
Ew.
It's called J.K. Rowling is a
Soon after, they find out that zombie worms are infecting bigot men, and they are the only ones who can stop the zombie fascists. Empowered and emboldened, they become known as the Masked Bigot Bashers.
Masked Bigot Bashers.
Saboteurs of microaggressions. More seriously though, how can they tell which men are infected and which aren't? These men they're attacking look like they're just normal men minding their own business. Like, this is an important detail in the story, and the fact that it's unclear is a real problem. The main characters look like they're just attacking random men on the street. The overarching point that the movie tries to make is that zombies are a metaphor for real-life oppression.
The film you're about to see is a work of fantastic fiction. Ooh, but it's realer than you think.
The film claims that trans people who live as cis people aren't themselves anymore, and are walking around the world in a zombie-like state, dead inside. Apparently, the fascist men are just closeted trans people or something.
When he went to school a few days later, he was different. No one knew but me. Sure, they noticed he was harder, tougher, more confident, but they didn't feel what I felt. They thought he'd manned up, been beaten straight. But I knew. Something inside him had eaten all that was him and was walking around in his skin, pretending to be him. And when other kids began to change, the insecure kids, even some of the bullies, you knew they were just terrified of their drunk fathers.
But the part where trans people attack the innocent public isn't really a metaphor, because this literally happens in real life. Just look at all the trans shooters. It's only March, and there have already been 2 trans shooters, one in an ice rink in Pawtucket, and another one in Canada. Both men who thought they were women, by the way. These trans shooters typically attack people who they think are bigots. The filmmakers try so hard to outright say that this movie is a metaphor for real life.
I'm sorry, did I frighten you? If it helps, just keep telling yourself, it's only a movie. It's only a movie.
But if it was a good movie, they wouldn't need to explain it so much. People would already know. Continuing along the list of just god-awful scenes. In this one scene, there's a broadcast announcing that the government has put in more safeguards for children to prevent kids from transitioning.
In depressing political news,
news, our state continues its slide into fundamentalism and proto-fascism as new proposals put forward by our most honourable rep in the Senate means that the treatment of transgender children under the age of 18 will be classified as child abuse and subject to criminal law if reported to social services.
I saw that before in the news. They want to make it so that people can report doctors or parents for child abuse if they help trans kids.
A Gestapo of Karens.
Interesting that he used the word Karen, a sexist word, to describe women who decide to stand up for what they believe in politically. It's typical male behavior because of the sexism and also because he doesn't have empathy for children, which is a male trait. Also, it's funny that the bathroom of the gay bar has "fuck you gender" written on the wall as supposedly pro-trans decoration. This is actually unintentionally anti-trans. Woman, man, the associated pronouns, and gender are extremely important to trans activists. Trans activists love categorizing people based on gender stereotypes. Do you have long hair and do you love to wear dresses? Well, that means that you're a woman, regardless of biological sex. This type of thinking is actually pro-gender stereotypes. TERFs are the only ones that actually go against gender stereotypes by saying that no matter how a woman acts or dresses, she's still a woman, despite society's gender stereotypes.
He used to be cool. We used to be friends when we were a little younger, and I don't know, last couple of years, it's a bit rough for him. Girlfriend left him, quit uni, lost his job, so look, we try to keep him on his feet and everything, but he started watching Jordan Peterson. Oh. Yeah.
It seems like this movie is denouncing all the best people. This guy is talking about a friend who lost his job and girlfriend and then started watching Jordan Peterson. And somehow that's supposed to be a bad thing. Apparently, Jordan Peterson made his friend more lazy. Even though in reality, Jordan Peterson is probably the best resource for men who need to get their lives together and not be losers. Telling men to not listen to the very practical advice that Jordan Peterson gives ensures that more men will remain losers. And then those losers will end up ruining the lives of women around the world. These woke filmmakers would rather push a victimhood mindset that keeps everyone poor and deadbeat.
I know he's stable, but I'm real fun. Let's pack our shit up and fucking run. You got that bleach blonde hair and a chest piece. What's it gonna take for you to pick me? Can you keep a secret when he's not around?
I just don't understand what mental state you would have to be in to think that it was a good idea to use this music unironically in a movie. This is the kind of music that only extremely chronically online anime nerds listen to. Overall, the music is very cheesy. The music reminds me of Katy Perry's political music. Dated, performative, and honestly impossible to listen to in 2026 without cringing. And I'm not saying that because it's left-leaning political music. If you look at left-wing political music from around the year Y2K, it's more relaxed and sounds less corporate HR-like. Here's an example.
I got my hands dirty while you rolled cigarettes with one eye on the time. I tried my hardest, I've been conscientious, but I'm taking back that heart of mine. You can't roll me around your town no more, baby. It's time to clear up your emotional debris. And if I'm falling overboard, please don't save me. 'Cause I'm telling you now, I quit. 'Cause loving you's a job I don't need. Ain't gonna go to work no more.
Even though the song is a feminist one, it's well made and doesn't rely on its politics to get sales. I don't usually have to critique the more technical side of filmmaking, like lighting, camera quality, shot framing, etc. Because for most films I've reviewed, these tend to be at least professionally done. For T-blockers, however, the actual film crew was very obviously made of amateurs. The biggest problem aesthetically for this movie was that there was too much light. Just look at this shot. One of the most basic things they teach you in film school is that you want to avoid having pure white in any part of the screen because it makes your image look flat rather than three-dimensional and interesting. If you need to have a bright spot on the screen, you usually want to have slightly tinted white. For example, an extremely light blue or orange. Even during normal shots, it's really crazy how many lights they used. Most scenes only really need what's called three-point lighting. One main light, one fill light, and one backlight. And the fill light and backlight are supposed to be very subdued. Otherwise, it's too much visually. The scene looks so washed out, which makes the image look less crisp unintentionally. The actors also feel very awkward and uncomfortable on screen.
Sorry, I was miles away, sorry.
Yeah, a little bit closer than that. No.
Oh, tango.
Yeah, seriously.
I will just take a step.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, I can't believe I giggled. Ugh.
This scene, for example, was supposed to come off as endearing and warm, but instead it's just plain weird and cringe. This movie is what happens when activists make art without proper artistic training. It's so poorly executed. It's common for amateur artists to use edgy horror subject matter or performative angst to try to cover up for lack of artistic skill. You especially see this in, for example, abstract modern art. Filmmakers need to actually put in the time to learn the technical details of their craft, rather than claiming to be artists because their work talks about society or whatever. In some ways, the movie is so bad it almost feels like a conservative made it in order to make fun of liberal films. It almost feels like what would happen if Matt Walsh made a parody of Hollywood trans movies and released it on dailywire.com for $15 a month. I actually don't really mind when trans activists make movies like this because it exposes how mentally unwell they are. The trans woman in the movie is completely unreasonable and annoying. This is intended to be pro-trans propaganda, but like all bad art, it actually does the opposite of what it was intended to do. Anyways, that's all for now. Remember to subscribe to my channel for more TERF content, and don't forget to like this video so that it'll boost it in the algorithm and stress trans activists out. Bye!